in our practices outside of the emergency department, as well as friends and friends of family within the community.
And emotionally, what's that like?
It's very difficult. Yes, sir.
Sir. Talk about the age ranges of these patients.
So the age range, I believe we have as 7 to 73. So obviously this was a very wide-ranging population, and that's kind of to be expected if you're having an event like this occurring at a church.
Did you treat a pediatric patient here?
We did have patients ranging in pediatric age, yes.
How did they do, I guess, generally speaking?
Generally speaking, the patients were stable when they left this area. I can't speak to their current condition in San Antonio, obviously.
But I mean, like demeanor. I mean, obviously, a kid is going to be different.
Excellent. As I said, to a patient, including those younger patients, very brave, very cooperative, scared, but did very well. Amazing.
What are the difficulties of treating someone as young as 7 and someone as old as in your substance?
So in general, when we get trauma training actually includes specialized training in those who are younger and those who are older. And it has to do with physiology, and it has to do with what medications older patients might be on that can affect their physiology. There's not a lot of training in the psychology of what's going on because in general you're so focused on normalizing that patient's physiology to stabilize the patient and get them where they need to go. For the most part, most of us have seen this when we do this for a living in terms of traumatic patients, and so we're fairly skilled at being able to be professional and deal with just the physiologic issues at that time. And that's what we did, and so people did excellent with all the age ranges. Sir?
Can you comment on the recovery? Will the patients go back to normal, or are they going to have these for the rest of their lives?
So I can comment a little bit on the recovery from the anatomic wounds themselves. I mean, patients, depending on what the wounds are, that will predict the recovery. So it's impossible to say on a generalized basis. Depending on what they have, that will tell how they do from the standpoint of their anatomy and their physiology. From a psychologic standpoint, none of us up here obviously are counselors of that sort, but in general, the wounds that stick with trauma patients the longest are the psychologic wounds, and I'm sure like the town and everything else, folks will have to deal with that for some time now.
Do you feel like they might be in crutches, or can you comment?
I can't comment specifically. It's so difficult to tell. I mean, things can change in these patients from a minute-to-minute basis. So people who seemed really sick can do exceptionally well, and people who don't seem so sick can obviously get much sicker on a very quick time frame. So it would be incorrect for me to tell you exactly what they might end up like. Ma'am?
What was the process like in terms of alerting family members and managing the family members of the victims? Did you guys alert them, or did you guys have kind of an outpouring of family members just asking for answers from you guys?
So in the immediate time from the incident itself, there's not a concerted effort, at least from the physician and those taking care of the patients, to look and get into the family members. We're so busy concentrating on stabilizing that patient, we just didn't get there. So I can't speak to what's gone on past that time frame in terms of notifying the family. I know there are community members and other individuals that helped out with that process, because there were certainly many, many calls. But there are folks that handle that. It just wasn't us that was handling that part of the problem. You're welcome. Other questions?
Have you seen these injuries before with children, or is this the first time for you?
Yes, I've seen these injuries many times before. I think Dr. Moorhead has seen them many times before.
Unfortunately,
as well.
yes.
It's pretty standard for our type of training to see lots of that in training alone. So absolutely. Yes.
How do you think the staff is affected by this going forward? I mean, this is sort of like a defining moment perhaps in one's career, especially in a community like this, a hospital of this size.
Right.
What's different as a hospital from here on in? Because when we deal with emergency situations, we learn from that, and we adapt how we respond to emergencies based on what we've learned from. So.
Right. So I think I'll let Mandy answer that, but the question is how will the staff respond to this going forward?
Professionally and emotionally.
Absolutely. Professionally and emotionally. So,
absolutely. One great thing is we have had an outpouring of concern and generosity from pastors and counselors here in the community. Almost immediately, pastors and counselors were out here helping not only the patients but the staff deal with the things that were going on and their emotions. And we probably had about 3 or 4 debriefings and counselings already, an open chapel for the staff to go and just talk to pastors about their feelings, and together as a team to help them get through it with each other. A good thing about being in a small town is we're all family. So we work together as a team and we work together as family and support each other. So if one is having a troubled day or a troubled time, we're all going to be there for that staff member. And that's what helps us get through each day.
Anything to add to that?
I would just say that, as you would expect in situations like this draws us all together even closer. As Mandy mentioned, we all sort of act as a family, and many of us are family. But it just gets us closer together, and we work even better with each other.
Absolutely. Other questions? Is that it? Okay. Thank you for coming. We really appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.